Retail arbitrage is a grind. It was a great model and absolutely critical to the success of my business, but we've had to part ways. In this video, I'm going to share with you why I've stopped doing retail arbitrage and why I believe that it is not the best Amazon business model. So I was able to build up my retail arbitrage business to do about $20,000 to $30,000 every single month. And here's how I started. I began doing retail arbitrage at Dollar Tree. I did this because it was a cheap way to learn the systems and buy cheap items, flip them for more, and quickly grow my startup capital while at the same time learning the ins and outs of Amazon. Basically what I was doing was going into Dollar Tree, finding items that are cheap, obviously just around $1, and then reselling them on Amazon. And that's what retail arbitrage is. It's the process of going into retail stores, buying items for less, and then reselling them for more on another platform. And what we talk about a lot on this channel is doing that through Amazon FBA. Dollar Tree was a great place for me to start, but I eventually needed to be making more money. There was a really high return on investment, but at the end of the day, I was only making a couple bucks on every item sold. I started going to bigger stores like Walmart, Target, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, places that I could have a little bit more profitability, start to scale my business even further. A big part of this stage of my business was going to Walmart and going through the clearance section, finding items that were marked way down that I could resell on Amazon for high profit. And I was doing what was called chasing down BOLOs as well. So every now and again, probably like once a month, there would be a really hot item that I would find at a Walmart, and then I would just drive to all the Walmarts that I could and buy up that product and then resell it in as many quantities as I could. It was also helpful to the success of my business to be able to focus on replenishable products. This is where I would go to Walmart. Specifically, I would look at groceries. I would go to the grocery aisles and just start scanning all the products, looking them up manually, finding items that were a little bit harder to find, but were going to bring more longevity to my business. And these items were not home runs by any means, but businesses built on base hits, and I was able to find a pretty consistent amount of items that I could consistently go. And now, instead of just going for those BOLO items and driving everywhere, I could drive everywhere, find those BOLO items, but also pick up my replenishables as well. This really started to build some stability in my business, but it wasn't really getting me to where I wanted to be. So I also got pretty heavy into flipping clothing on Amazon. Primarily, I did this in two places. Number one was Kohl's. Kohl's has a really great system for arbitrage sellers set up because they have massive discounts on their clothing, and then they also have a really great coupon system. So you can go to the clearance aisle where items are generally marked down 70 to 80%. And then you can bring in a coupon that gets you 30 to 40% off that already heavily marked down price. Then you're also getting an insane amount of Kohl's cash, basically free money to spend in Kohl's for more products or to spend for personal use, whatever you'd prefer. It's a discount, so you can choose what you want to do with it. All these things combined allowed me to buy items for super cheap and resell them on Amazon. The ROI on these clothing items was absolutely crazy, and this really was a big part of my business. I also did clothing flips at outlets, so I would go to outlet stores and again find items for super marked down prices and then resell them. So clothing, the replenishables, the BOLOs, the clearance aisle, this was all part of my retail arbitrage journey, and it allowed me to scale up to almost 30K a month in retail arbitrage. But this business model proved to be problematic. It was not getting me to where I wanted to be and was not, at the end of the day, achieving my goals. And whatever you're doing in business, you need to make sure that daily actions are mapping out to what your goals are long term. Otherwise, there's no real point in doing the day-to-day actions. So enter the problem. There were three really key problems with this business model for me. Number one is the business was very reliant on me. I knew that long term, I wanted to set up a business that would be able to run itself. With retail arbitrage, I was the one having to do a lot of the work. I was able to outsource and have people help with my prep, but I was having to drive pretty much all over the country finding new products to bring back and resell. I also had to spend a lot of time driving, which was just not an efficient use of my time. You know, I was able to make fun out of it. I was able to go on some trips, listen to podcast music on the drives, but at the end of the day, driving is not what I wanted to be doing with my life. And then third, this business model just really wasn't truly scalable, and it wasn't scalable for me. It could be. I know of people who built 8-figure retail arbitrage businesses, but it wasn't going to work out that way for me. I live in a pretty rural area, and not having access to a bunch of stores can be super limiting. And then also, it's just a lot more work having to drive around. I might be able to spend, $1,500 at a store, but I could spend $1,500 in an hour from my house doing online arbitrage. So I could probably spend the same amount in an hour as I could spending the whole day sourcing. And success in this business, scaling in this business is all tied back into your inventory spend. If you're not growing the amount of money that you're spending on inventory, then your business is not going to grow. A lot of you will probably start off doing retail arbitrage, and it is the model that I recommend for beginners, but it's not the model that I recommend long term. So at some point in growing your business, you're going to recognize these own constraints, and then you're going to recognize that you need to pivot in your business. Here's how you can recognize when it might be time for you to pivot into a different business model than retail arbitrage. Number one, you aren't meeting your goals. So if you're not able to spend enough money with retail arbitrage in order to meet your financial goals, then you should probably pivot into online arbitrage or wholesale. These models will allow you to spend a lot more money faster, which will grow the amount of inventory you're sending in, which will in turn grow your Amazon business. Now, your goals can also be the amount of time you're working. So maybe your goal with this was to work 4 or 5 hours a day, but with retail arbitrage, you have to work 10 plus hours a day. If that's the case, then it may be time to consider that you need to pivot into another business model. I don't want to say that you'll never have to not work more than you want to. Sometimes, especially in those early stages, you really need to grind it out in order to get your end result. But if you're consistently working a lot more than you initially planned or really want to, then it's time to reevaluate. The answer may be that you just need to stick with it for a while. That is the answer in a lot of cases. But it's important to, if you're not meeting your goals, take a step back, reevaluate, and make the best possible move moving forward. For me, switching to online arbitrage was necessary to scale my business and achieve my goals of working less. I was able to grow to about 20 to 30,000 a month in revenue, but to go beyond that point and remove myself from the business, I had to transition into online arbitrage. Online arbitrage is very similar to retail arbitrage, but instead of going into physical stores and buying the products, we're just going to buy them online from the comfort of our home, or really wherever in the world you want to work. Online arbitrage is a business model that allows you a lot more flexibility and is a lot more scale, in my opinion. So as I look to scale and remove myself, I started using the online arbitrage business model instead of retail arbitrage. I started out utilizing what's called leads lists, and I'll link a video up here that breaks those down further. Basically, a leads list is where you pay a company a monthly subscription, and in exchange, they give you profitable online arbitrage leads every day in your inbox. This allows you to have leads coming in on a consistent basis and outsourcing it at the same time. So ideally, you're doing less work and getting more results because you're able to spend your money faster. I also found a lot of leads myself whenever I first started out. So I combined the leads list method and also found a lot of my own product leads as well. So I was spending time doing product research, manually going through website sales, storefront stalking, all around spending a lot of my day doing product research in addition to those leads lists. But eventually this again was not meeting my goals. So I began to outsource more heavily and started hiring virtual assistants. If you want to learn more about this process, here's a video above. Virtual assistants are a huge part of growing your Amazon business and achieving your long-term goals of probably working less. A lot of people want more freedom, and virtual assistants are a great way to do that. Virtual assistants can handle any kind of tasks that are remote or online, but the main way that you're going to utilize them in your Amazon business is product research. Hiring virtual assistants allows you to have employees that are regularly finding you new leads. This is more cost efficient and more fine-tuned to your business, so it is the better solution long-term. Leads lists were a great transition for me, and I believe that they are a great solution for a lot of sellers, but long-term, the best ideal solution is to build out your own virtual assistant team. Over time, I grew that team up to what it is today, and I was able to build a business that generates over $200,000 a month, about $20,000 or more in profit, while only having to work a few hours a week. So online arbitrage has been a great model for helping me reach my Amazon business goals, and I'm kind of where I want to be at for now. I'm focusing on building up other revenue streams and helping sellers like you grow and scale their business and achieve their goals. If you want to follow my journey and get more tips and tricks along the way, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.